When we speak about health after 60, we are really speaking about time itself, how it moves through the body, how it leaves traces, and how it can be gently guided rather than fought. Aging is often described as decline, but biology tells a more nuanced story. The human body is not a machine that simply wears out, it is a living system that constantly adapts, repairs, and reorganizes itself. Even in later decades, cells listen, respond, and change based on how we live. This realization alone can be deeply freeing. It means that the story of health after 60 is not already written. It is still being edited every day, quietly, through small choices that seem ordinary but accumulate powerfully over time. One of the most misunderstood aspects of aging is energy. Many people notice fatigue creeping in and assume it is inevitable. But from a biological perspective, energy is less about age and more about cellular communication. Inside every cell are structures that produce energy, and these structures respond directly to movement, nutrition, sleep, and stress. When movement becomes scarce, energy production becomes inefficient. When sleep is shallow, repair systems slow down. When stress is constant, the body shifts into a defensive mode, prioritizing survival over vitality. None of this happens overnight, and none of it is irreversible. The body is remarkably forgiving when given consistent, gentle signals that it is safe to repair and renew. Consider movement, not as exercise, but as conversation. Every time a joint moves through its natural range, nerve endings send information to the brain saying, "This pathway is still needed." When muscles contract, they release chemical messengers that influence blood sugar regulation, inflammation, and even brain health. This is not about intense workouts or pushing limits. In fact, after 60, biology favors regularity over intensity. A slow walk that slightly elevates the heart rate, repeated daily, tells the cardiovascular system to maintain its elasticity. Gentle strength work tells bones to hold on to their density. Simple balance challenges tell the nervous system to stay alert and responsive. These are quiet messages, but the body listens closely. There is also something deeply human about movement that goes beyond physiology. Movement reconnects us to space, to gravity, to the present moment. As people age, life can shrink, physically and mentally, if routines become too narrow. Movement expands that space again. It restores a sense of participation in the world, rather than observation from the sidelines. Even a few minutes of intentional movement can subtly shift mood, confidence, and self-perception. The science supports this, but the experience confirms it. Nutrition after 60 is often in terms of restriction, but biology responds better to nourishment. As we age, digestion changes, absorption becomes less efficient, and the body becomes more sensitive to both deficiencies and excesses. This means that food quality matters more than quantity. The body needs signals that support repair, adequate protein to maintain muscle and immune function, healthy fats to support brain cells and hormone balance, and plant compounds that calm chronic inflammation. These are not abstract concepts. Inflammation, at a low but constant level, is one of the silent drivers of aging-related disease. It affects joints, blood vessels, and cognitive function. Simple dietary shifts, more whole foods, fewer highly processed ones, directly influence this internal environment. Eating also has a psychological dimension that science increasingly recognizes. The nervous system does not separate food from emotion. How we eat, slowly or rushed, mindfully or distracted, influences digestion and metabolism. When meals are eaten in a state of calm, the body shifts into a mode that prioritizes absorption and repair. When meals are eaten under stress, the same food is processed differently. This is not philosophy, it is physiology. After 60, slowing down meals, chewing thoroughly, and treating eating as a form of self-respect can have measurable effects on blood sugar stability and gut health. Sleep is another quiet pillar of longevity that often changes with age. Many people notice lighter sleep, more awakenings, or earlier mornings. While some changes are natural, chronic sleep deprivation is not. Sleep is when the brain clears metabolic waste, when hormones are balanced, and when tissues repair microscopic damage. Without sufficient sleep, even the best nutrition and exercise cannot fully compensate. The science of sleep tells us that consistency matters more than duration. Going to bed and waking at the same time trains the body's internal clock, which regulates not only sleep but immune function and metabolism. There is also an emotional aspect to sleep that deserves compassion. After 60, many people carry accumulated worries about health, family, finances, or loss. The mind may become busier at night precisely because daytime distractions fade. Learning to create a gentle transition into sleep, dimming lights, reducing stimulation, practicing slow breathing, is not indulgent. It is biological support for a system that has carried us for decades. Even small improvements in sleep quality can ripple outward, improving mood, memory, and physical resilience. Stress deserves special attention because it is one of the most underestimated accelerators of aging. From a biological perspective, stress is not inherently harmful. Short bursts of stress sharpen focus and mobilize energy. The problem is chronic stress, the kind that lingers without resolution. Over time, it keeps stress hormones elevated, which affects blood pressure, immune response, and even the integrity of brain cells involved in memory. After 60, the body becomes less tolerant of constant stress signals. This is not weakness, it is wisdom encoded in biology, encouraging us to prioritize what truly matters. Reducing stress does not necessarily mean eliminating responsibilities. It often means changing our relationship with them. Practices such as slow breathing, quiet reflection, or time in nature have measurable effects on the nervous system. They activate pathways that counterbalance stress hormones and promote repair. From a scientific standpoint, these practices enhance variability in heart rhythms, a marker associated with resilience and longevity. From a human standpoint, they restore a sense of inner space, which becomes increasingly precious with age. Social connection is another factor where science and philosophy meet. Humans are biologically social creatures. Loneliness is not merely an emotional experience, it has physiological consequences. Studies consistently show that social isolation is associated with increased risk of cardiovascular disease, cognitive decline, and early mortality. After 60, social circles often change due to retirement, relocation, or loss. Rebuilding connection requires intention, but the body responds quickly when it happens. Positive social interactions lower stress hormones and stimulate brain regions involved in motivation and memory. Connection does not require constant activity or large groups. Even regular, meaningful contact with a few people can provide protective effects. Conversations that involve listening and being heard engage cognitive and emotional networks that keep the brain flexible. Laughter, shared experiences, and even quiet companionship send signals of safety to the nervous system. These signals allow the body to invest energy in long-term maintenance rather than constant vigilance. Cognitive health after 60 is often framed as a battle against decline, but the brain is more adaptable than commonly believed. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change, does not disappear with age. It responds to challenge, novelty, and learning. Reading, learning new skills, engaging in problem solving, or even changing daily routines slightly can stimulate new neural connections. The key is curiosity rather than pressure. The brain thrives when learning feels meaningful, not when it feels like a test. Memory changes can be unsettling, but not all memory changes signal disease. The brain prioritizes information differently as we age. It may take longer to retrieve names or details, but this does not mean capacity is lost. In fact, emotional regulation and pattern recognition often improve. Supporting brain health involves managing vascular health, sleep, and inflammation, all of which are influenced by the simple lifestyle factors already discussed. In this sense, caring for the brain is inseparable from caring for the body as a whole. There is also the matter of purpose, which science now recognizes as a contributor to longevity. Having a reason to engage with the day, whether through family, creativity service, or personal growth, influences hormonal balance and immune function. Purpose does not have to be grand. It can be as simple as tending a garden, mentoring someone, or maintaining a daily ritual that brings satisfaction. Purpose organizes behavior, and organized behavior supports health. After 60, the body becomes more honest. It responds quickly to neglect, but it also responds generously to care. Small changes, applied consistently, can shift the trajectory of health in meaningful ways. This is not about chasing youth, but about supporting function, comfort, and clarity. Aging, when approached with curiosity rather than fear, becomes a process of refinement. We learn which habits truly matter, which stresses are worth carrying, and which can be gently set down. What is perhaps most important to remember is that health after 60 is not a solo project. It is shaped by relationships, environment, and self-compassion. The scientific details are valuable, but they are most powerful when paired with kindness toward oneself. The body has adapted to countless challenges over the years. It does not need perfection now, it needs consistency and respect. As we step away from this reflection, it's worth remembering that aging is not something happening to us, it is something unfolding through us. Every breath, every step, every moment of rest is a quiet conversation between who we have been and who we are becoming. Health after 60 is not built on dramatic transformations, but on steady attention, patience, and respect for the body's wisdom. When we listen carefully, the body responds, often more generously than we expect. There is no finish line here, no perfect version of health to reach. There is only an ongoing relationship with ourselves, one that deepens with time. By choosing small, thoughtful changes, we are not trying to reverse the years, we are learning how to live fully inside them. And in doing so, we discover that longevity is not measured only in time, but in clarity, connection, and the quiet confidence that we are still capable of growth, care, and meaning at every stage of life.